Welcome to Happy Hour with Coach Grant, joining us here, obviously giving us a little in-depth look at what's going on in the world of Charleston basketball. And Coach, first of all, crazy times right now. Thank goodness for technology. It's allowing us to kind of update Cougar Nation on Charleston basketball. And more importantly, Coach, how are things going for you and your family during these very crazy times?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been a little different. Certainly, you hate what's going on for our economy and also for the local business owners and just people's health, here in Charleston and all around the world. I mean, that's very unfortunate that this pandemic has taken a toll on so many people. But for some parts of it, just in terms of particularly for me and my family, it's been amazing to be around my wife and around my boys as much as I've been around them. And it made me realize, just how hard you've been running, just the rhythm that you were in, not having a lot of time to spend time with your sons. I thought I had a relationship with my sons, and now I'm realizing I really didn't. I mean, because you spend a little bit of time on the ride to school in the morning, maybe 10 minutes, taking the kid to school, and he's probably either sleeping in the passenger seat or got his earbuds in. And then, you get home at night for dinner and ask those guys how their day went. They say, pretty good. And they take a shower and you do it again. And the next day. So it's been amazing just to be able to spend that time with them. Me and my wife, we walk in the neighborhood. We hadn't done that in 6 years. We really just, we didn't do those things together. We're working out together pretty much 4 days a week. So it's been interesting, and it makes me realize, man, I cheated my wife and kids for a lot of years.
Coach, that's one of the positives is obviously having that family time and being able to spend with your family. One of the negatives, because of what you do, is, recruiting and your inability to go on the road and have recruits even come to Charleston. Talk about some of the challenges for you and your staff that you've had to endure because of what's going on with the coronavirus.
I mean, obviously there was challenges initially. When we got the news, I think March the 12th, I was out in Atlanta doing some recruiting, and that was my last day out. I know I was in Georgia. JD was down in Florida, and, other assistant coaches went out on March the 12th. And then that Friday the 13th is when we got all the news about the NCAA being canceled and, certainly not for not traveling, having restrictions on traveling. And there was a lot more things we needed to get done. We were planning on going out to Wichita, Kansas, flying in for the National Junior College Tournament. We were planning on going to see our signed recruits. We even thought about there's a chance we may had to take a flight to Australia. A lot of things were going through our mind. And so we've learned a lot in this time when we can't go out and get on a plane or drive to see a kid and have that face-to-face contact. Things like Zoom and things like WhatsApp and things like FaceTime, where you can kind of lump a lot of people in at the same time. We really have learned a lot from a technology standpoint and with recruiting, as well as bringing people to campus virtually, finding a way to get them to campus, showing them what we have and make them feel like they're actually on campus. So we've been very fortunate with our recruiting. I think the pandemic helped us in a couple of situations. Because kids couldn't go visit other schools. And so, I think it's worked out well for us.
Coach, and again, the whole purpose of this call is recruiting. And by the looks of it, you had 2 that signed back in November, able to come up with 3 outstanding young men to join the class here in March. And before we get into them specifically and kind of break each player down, let's take a look at a video that we have just basically of the 5 young men that are going to be donning Cougar uniforms here. It looks like a very good job, Coach, that you and your staff able to kind of pull together. 5 new faces will be on our roster this season. I guess, Coach, before we talk, we'll start out with Davian first. What were some of the things that you and your staff were looking for in terms of recruiting for this team to kind of get you guys to where you wanted to be?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing when we went into the recruiting cycle, we wanted to make sure everybody has high character, that they were guys that we really would enjoy being around, that would fit in our locker room well, that just everybody that they come in contact with would really enjoy them, whether it be academic folks, people on campus. When we travel and we have fans go with us, we want them to be people that we enjoy coaching and we really respect who they are as young men. So that was the number one thing, people that fit, what College of Charleston basketball has been about. And a lot of, maybe with our foundation, how we got to this point where we can even see some success. It started with character and guys who were willing to work hard and buy into the things we wanted them to do. That was number one. And number two, we wanted shooting. So everybody we signed in this class can really shoot the ball. All of them can make shots. They can make threes. They can just be very confident players. And so I think that skill level, the ability to shoot the ball, as well as the character, those were the initial things that we really focused on going into the recruiting cycle.
All right, Coach, let's start out with Davian Houston, a 6'1" point guard out of Texas, a freshman that will be on campus here in the fall. What is it about Davian, Coach, that excites you the most and that you're looking for from him to help this team next year?
Well, I mean, the number one thing is just how bad he want to be at College of Charleston. He visited us after his sophomore year, and he visited us after his junior year for elite camp in the summer. And, one of his coach played for me at Wichita State. And so, the kid's just a very tough guy. He reminded me a lot of, Marquise Pointer in terms of his mentality, his size, his physicality. He's won at every level he's played at. So I think just his winning, his toughness, he's an unbelievable student. And he can really shoot the ball, but just a great teammate, come from an unbelievable family. When I went out for my home visit, his mom and dad and his grandma and grandfather, they all live in this home outside of Houston, Texas. And they cooked me a big meal, man, and it's a great family, great quality values that they have. And I think that kid will be somebody that, all about donors and certainly all about administration, as well as coaching staff, just enjoy coaching and being around because, he works really hard and he's a great player and he's an unbelievable student. He goes to a top school out in Houston, Episcopal High School, and he's really competed high academically. So we're excited about that. Anytime you have a point guard, what I'm starting to realize is the best point guards, they got to be really smart, so they should be competing academically. They got to understand what everybody else on the floor is doing. So he's a very talented point guard, and I'm excited about him.
All right, Coach. So of the 5 players you signed, he's the shortest, again, only 6'1". Then we move on to the tallest recruit, that being Keegan Harvey, a 6'11" center out of Australia, played at Montverde Academy. Coach, I think the number 1 high school team in the country. Looks like his roster had 4 or 5 guys that are going to Power 5 schools. A guy, again, that can put the ball on the floor. Tell us a little bit about Keegan Harvey. It looks like a big man that has some skill as well.
Yeah, we were very fortunate, in getting Keegan. I know JD started recruiting him back a year ago, took me down to Montverde to see him. And one of the coaches at Montverde, I had a really good relationship with because we signed a center from Cameroon at Clemson, a kid named Landry Noko. And he was a really good player for us, ended up, being one of the all-time leading shot blockers in Clemson history. And so early in the fall, when we initially started to recruit him, the coach kind of deterred us from recruiting him. He said, man, it's going to be hard, Stanford, Florida, Georgia Tech. And so we didn't think we could recruit him, but certainly the persistence, JD continued to stay in touch. We went back down to see him again, throughout the year. And he's just a long, talented, skilled, high IQ guy. I think 3 years ago he was 6'6", and so he probably was more of a wing player, and then he just grew up to 6'11", and so he's playing on a team that's going to have 4 guys 3 years from now probably playing the NBA, the Mountain Bird team. So he was on that team and really got better this year, got bigger and stronger. He's probably 220 pounds, but really shoots the ball, really passes the ball, got good touch around the basket, bright kid, won a major in mathematics and engineering. So we're very fortunate to have him. I think he'll do a great job of competing on the court for us. And he's an unbelievable 4-year type player. We had a kid at Winthrop, kid named Craig Bradshaw, that was from New Zealand, and ended up making the New Zealand national team and then played with Australia at one time in the Olympics. His name was Craig Bradshaw, but very similar, 6'11", big and long, but can shoot and pass. And then as they get bigger and stronger and they get to be 240 pounds, I think he'll be an unbelievable difference maker for our program.
Because considering where he has come from, his high school, and playing against the top teams in the country, playing against that competition, will that kind of maybe give him a step ahead in terms of being able to contribute right away? Because, he's played against top competition really over the past 2 years.
Yeah, I think so. I think one of the things that he'll realize when he get to our level, certainly, playing against our guys, OC and Samba, who are big and physical and strong, and Dontavius and guys like that, I think getting hit, it'll be a college level physicality. But I think the length of the guys that he played with every day, Dayron Sharp, who's going to play at North Carolina, or another long kid, about 6'9", is going to play at Florida State that he goes against every day. I think that athleticism and that talent that he see every day in practice at Mount Verde, our talent won't be at that level. So I think he will be able to, come in and have some confidence, when he get in our program and get around our guys. But I think physically, it still is going to be something he had to adjust to at this level, the physical side. But his ability to shot make and his ability to go get balls, and that 6'11", and being able to run and move the way he does, it's a very unique talent.
All right, Coach. R.J. Ogun, a 6'5" power forward out of Chicago, Illinois. Seems to have a big, kind of impressive body for an actual freshman. Tell us a little bit about R.J.
Yeah, R.J. is he's a physical guy, and a kind of a ball getter, plays with a lot of passion. Saw him last summer. Eric Wilson, when I hired Eric Wilson, he did a lot of recruiting at his other stops, Western Carolina and North Carolina Central. They did a lot of Midwest recruiting. And so he had some ties in Chicago. He showed me that kid last summer, and his physicality really caught my eye. But the thing that really jumped out to me was the way he shot the ball. Every game I watched, he made 3 or 4 threes. So it wasn't just him going to rebound the ball at 12 feet or blocking shots at a high level or just having that physical streak, but it was just his ability to shoot and drive the ball. And he played on a team. One of the things that stood out to me was he played on a team that was very selfish. And, a lot of guys on that team were playing for self. And I watched how he handled his teammates. And I remember talking to him about really, appreciating his body language and how he handled himself in some tough situations last summer. But played in Chicago, was one of the best players in the city. And if anybody knows Chicago basketball, it's real basketball. It's really talented players and it's physical guys and guys going to play different places. So he's a very talented guy. Dad's a professor at DePaul. Mom has a medical company, kind of mobile medical company. So he's coming from a family that, worked really hard. So I would imagine he would be a hard worker. And physically, he's ready to play. He's 230 pounds, 225. So he can really help us.
All right, and another guy, Coach, I'm sure you're hoping that can help the squad not only next year, but in years to come. Cameron Copeland, a 6'7", kind of a swing guy, Coach, a big guard, also a small forward, coming from McClenna Community College, a JUCO, but originally from Atlanta, Georgia. So a chance for him to kind of come back, obviously here to the South and show his skills, and a guy who I know you're looking forward to seeing in a Cougar uniform.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. We don't do a lot of junior college recruiting here. So he would be the only, I guess he would be the second junior college signee in 6 years. The other one being Peyton Halsey, who really stepped in and helped us in year 2, turn the corner and find a way to win some games. So I'm excited about Cameron. He's a kid that played Division I his freshman year at North Florida, didn't have the success that he wanted. He was 6'4", 165 pounds when he went to North Florida, and just had an unfortunate situation. Dad died in November of his freshman year. And so that took a toll on him. He ended up transferring after his freshman year, went to McClendon and was first team all conference. But he grew 3 inches. So he was 6'4", 165 as a freshman. He's 6'7", and he's really a shooting guard. But he'll play the 3 for us. He can play, sometimes we play 2 guards, so it doesn't matter as much, but he can play the 3. He can play the 2, he can play the 4, but he's about 6'7", 190. Very athletic, plays above the rim, active, moves well, he's fluid, and he can really shoot the ball. And he can create his own shot. So he's a talented guy. I think he's hungry to get to the next phase. Hopefully he can, build on what he did at McClendon, being first team all conference, and doing it on a very talented team with other Division I signees. So I'm extremely excited about him. Another guy that's a good student, a good kid, good person. And I think he can really step in and do some things to help us.
Coach, when you look around the CAA this past year, really over the last couple of years, it always seems like all of our opponents had like a grad transfer, a guy that brought a lot of experience and played at a Power 5 school or some, and be pretty, prominent players. The one that really jumps out here as of late was Sheffield there at Elon, Marcus Sheffield, that transferred from Stanford. And like you just said, we never really had that at the college. And finally, Coach, we got coming in, and boy, is he a good one. Peyton Willis, a guy that, as I often like to say, Coach, he wasn't on the team at Minnesota. He actually played, and he's going to definitely help Charleston out next year.
Man, I tell you, we just were really fortunate in this situation. How things played out. And, I talked to Matt Roberts a lot about recruiting maybe in that last 2 weeks when we had the one scholarship left. And, some things happened in recruiting, and we made some decisions, and we had one scholarship left. And thank God we had the scholarship because, Peyton's a guy that I fell in love with him. It would have been 7 years ago at the Peach Jam. He would have been playing 16 and under in the Peach Jam with the Arkansas Wings. And on the 17 and under team was Marquise Pointer. And so every time I would go watch Marquise Pointer with the Arkansas Wings, I would go take a peek at Peyton Willis. Obviously, I was at Clemson at the time. And then that was the summer before I got the job here. And tried to recruit Peyton. He ended up going to Vanderbilt. And so he went to Vandy, played there for 2 years. And it's amazing how things come full circle. We had one of the Legacy Fund members 2 years ago flew us down to Vanderbilt when he was leaving Vandy. And me and JD went down to see him. Spent some time with him at Vandy. He took a visit to us here. We thought we had him. He was excited about College of Charleston, and he just told us he wanted to take one more visit. He went to Minnesota to take a visit, and certainly their facilities blew his mind. Looking out of that facility and looking into the Minnesota Twins baseball field, it's a high-level situation. So he went there, sat out a year, started every game last year, played about 30 minutes a game, averaged 10 points. So to have that caliber player come to our program, obviously we're just very fortunate. On top of, the type of player he is, he's an unbelievable student, 3.0 the whole time through. But he can step in, man, and really fill a void from a scoring standpoint with his ability to shoot the ball. And he's one of the highest efficient players in all of college basketball. with the least amount of turnovers per minute played. So very efficient, can pass it, can play the point guard, can play the small forward. At times, our league presents situations where you play 4 guards. I know the year we won the championship, we played 4 guards. And so I think it gives us a lot of flexibility to do some unique things. And I just expect him to make a huge impact. He's a very talented player and good human being. So we were very fortunate to get him. I think he'll really impact us.
Coach, on this call, we have a bunch of people that know basketball. Obviously, they love Charleston basketball. And they know when you think about Big Ten basketball, getting back to Peyton, it's physical. And physicality is something that he will hopefully bring with him here to Charleston. And so sometimes, Coach, that type of stuff, when it comes from an older guy, just kind of rubs off on everybody else. And before you know it, Coach, we might have a nice, tough basketball squad coming here next year.
Well, I mean, obviously that's – it's hard to win. And so one of the things I've learned as you have time to reflect, man, just, how much maybe you should appreciate when you win. We've had success. And then last year, obviously we wanted to win a few more games and wanted things to end different. But it just makes you appreciate winning. And I'm really excited that we have put together a team that is a unique team. It's a very capable team. It's a very talented team. Certainly, we're not looking at a team that's young. You got Zep Jasper and Brevin Galloway and Osinachi Smart. Those guys got a lot of starts, and some of those freshmen a lot of good minutes, and they can make a jump going into their sophomore year. So, just really excited, about our team, and it's coming together. And now we've got to find a way to see if we can have any production this summer. The summers have been so important for us, working with players and getting them better. So hopefully we'll find out that maybe late June, early July, we can get them back in Charleston and start working with them so we can start, forming our personality as a team. It is 5 new guys. So I've been working hard with some of our older guys about leading the group when they're away from us, trying to make sure guys wake up in the morning and get a workout in. So it's exciting. It's really exciting. And it's a very, very unique group, a very capable group, and I'm looking forward to coaching this team.
Well, Coach, congratulations under very crazy times and situations, probably not ideal, but the fact that you and Coach Powell and Coach Munson, Coach Wilson, just able to kind of really secure a solid basketball team in terms of the recruits that are in faces. And I think everyone on this call has no doubt that you and your staff will be able to mold these guys in with the guys that are coming back. And just good times right now in Charleston basketball, and can't wait to see these guys in blue uniforms. So, Coach, thank you so much for taking some time to kind of give us a little in-depth look at the recruits, and we'll catch up with you later on over the summer.
Yes, sir.